Ah, yeah.
Hello. Live from the green room at the CFA Institute's podcast called Sustainability Story.
Ooh.
That's a plug there, Matt. That's a plug for you. It's
I
a
feel
magical
that
Monday edition of Business Pants, joined as always by Emma Discuzia lurking and Matt, formerly known as Ivy League Egghead Mascardi. Well, how come you're not called that anymore?
Because no one ever called me that.
Oh, I'm Johnny Depp's least favorite Lyft driver, and today's molten bag of moldy-shaped nuggets called June 13th, 2022, sexy story updates and sleazy academic papers. That's our Monday.
Can you
It's
say
our new Monday
sleazy
format.
like that
I love
all
it.
the time?
Yeah.
Also, what's a moldy-shaped nugget? What's a mold shape?
I don't know. It's up to our writing team. We'll have to
I'm very
take
excited.
it up with our
Hopefully
writing
we have
team.
that answer. All the answers here on Free Float.
We got a lot
do
to
it.
cover, Matt.
Let's just get into it. Let's just quit our lives and do it.
I remind you, for any of our listeners who listen to us daily, which better be all of you, because otherwise, what point is living without listening to us daily? Really, what?
All like there's like more than three.
All of these stories are updates of things that we talk about, complain about, whine about consistently. I'm just keeping the flow going. Matt, let's start off with your favorite woke versus anti-woke category.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, let's do it. What do we got?
Here are the headlines. ESG forces Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street to choose on abortion. Smaller ESG managers recently filed abortion rights proposals at major annual general meetings, including Walmart and Lowe's. Hundreds more will follow, demanding cost evaluation of abortion bans, including staff retention impact. So, Matt, what are they going to do? What are they going to do?
Honestly, I'm going to pick a bone.
How do you not vote for this? Yeah.
Well, I'm going to pick a bone with a headline that says ESG forces someone to do. ESG forces? ESG? What is ESG?
I mean, to be fair, that's from
forcing?
RIABiz.com. I don't even know what that is. RIABiz.
I'm pretty sure that's like Responsible Investment Association Biz, which means our own industry doesn't know how to use the acronym ESG. No wonder why everyone's confused.
You're getting caught up in the semantics. I like this.
You like it because it's going to force everyone to figure out what shareholders actually think.
How do you vote against this, Larry Fink? Come on.
Well, we'll find a way.
All right, moving on.
Overly prescriptive. Find a way.
Matt, I found a business pants hater.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. He had these cringeworthy comments. He said, first he said, after claiming women's bodies aren't their own and that God says abortions are wrong, Robinson is now claiming that Christians are called to be led by men. That's the quote, called to be led by men, not women. So I guess we're wrong. We've been pushing women in leadership since we started this company. But according to North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, we're full of shit.
Not only are we full of shit,
yeah,
but the market got it right because it's mostly led by men.
That's true. God is speaking. God is speaking.
They agree.
Back to BlackRock. BlackRock extends AGM vote choice to more equity index clients. They are expanding how to control how the votes are cast at annual meetings. I don't know what I'm talking about, but they're expanding their voting choice program. Okay? And let me tell you, since their launch, clients holding $120 billion of assets have opted to take control of the voting process. And they claim it's up to $530 billion now. The reporting on this is weird, but it looks like 10% of the people holding their funds now are taking control of their vote. 10%.
That's a pretty weak number.
Yeah.
This is what I like about this battle.
Yes.
It is a battle of sluffing. No, you choose. No, you choose. No, you're going to make the vote. Why don't you make the vote? Because whoever makes the vote gets Ron DeSantis and Texas all up in a knot about how woke they are and never want to do business with them again.
I will say this to their credit. BlackRock was predicting the anti-woke backlash because they did launch this back in last October. So this voting choice program. So they were anticipating this, I guess, right?
I like that they were using the word choice there, heading back to the abortion votes coming up.
And finally,
the 90% they have to vote on.
Stefan Hoops has a new friend, I guess. Here's the headline from the New York Times. Goldman Sachs is being investigated over ESG funds. The SEC is investigating Goldman Sachs over its ESG investment funds that invest in we know what the ESG investment funds is. The agency is examining ESG mutual funds overseen by the bank's asset management unit. So here we go, Matt. Here we go.
Yeah, what they're going to examine is the same thing they did at BNY Mellon, which is to say, you said they're ESG funds. Now show us what makes them ESG funds. And if you can't show us what makes them ESG funds, then we will charge you something.
People at Goldman Sachs, hire us. We can help with all this.
This is all we do. We
do consulting. Yeah, we can tell you. We can tell the SEC what is and what isn't.
We do board sabermetrics now. We don't do consulting. Forget that.
Moving on, let's talk about Kimball's brother, Elon.
I'm going to go to the bathroom while you talk about this.
More big news in our governance category here, Matt. We've had a lot of high-profile resignations in the last few weeks, last month or two. Tesla board member Larry Ellison to step down.
Oh, wah, wah.
Yeah, which is a little surprising. He made $1 billion investment in Tesla, holds over at least 1.5% of Tesla, which is an extremely significant amount. Has been on the board for only 4 years. So this is a moment at Tesla. We don't know why he's leaving, but it seems, given all the other crap swirling around Elon, it seems important. I don't know. That's all I can say.
I like the press release around this, the announcement, which is first of all, it's a class. It's a director classes, right? So it's a multi-class director system. Yep. Larry Ellison, a class 3 director, determined collectively with the nominating and corporate governance committee and the board that he will not stand for re-election to the board.
I don't understand what that is.
There's literally no information except that they determined collectively that he won't do it anymore.
Yeah, and yet Egon Durbin over at Twitter gets voted out, but they determined collectively that they don't care, and he's staying on the board.
There's a lot of collective determination.
More from Elon. This is from Fortune.com. Elon Musk's regulatory woes mount as the U.S. moves closer to recalling Tesla's self-driving software, and a move that could prompt a mandatory recall. That doesn't sound good for Tesla.
That's a slow clap for a regulatory agency doing something.
And then Business Insider also has this. Elon Musk's rants could signal a bigger problem. We kind of talked about this a lot, but I'll give credit to Insider for listening to our show and then reporting on what we talk about. Musk has been talking about a lot of stuff lately. Twitter bots, Joe Biden, recession, evils of working from home. Business Insider saying all of Musk's recent outbursts are simply misdirections that point the public away from underlying problems with Tesla.
Ta-da!
Thanks for listening to Business Pants.
Honestly, we've been saying that for months. There's
a method to our madness.
It's literally the Wizard of Oz. Like, just don't pay attention behind the curtain. Look at all the fancy things that I can talk about because guess what? I got 90 million bots following me. It's the Donald Trump playbook. Say a thing so that everyone looks over there while you do a thing over here. And it's masterful.
When your boss is yelling at you for listening to Business Pants, remind them that without an objective set of data that outlines CEO behavior, we have Business Pants to give you a proxy for that data. Because all these stories, all this is a proxy for that data. This is what's going on. This is the stuff. This is the.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this right now. Business Pants, the podcast, is AI.
It is.
That's what we do here.
Oh, I didn't realize that. So why do I show up every day?
Well, you're the AI.
Oh, okay. Let's move on.
Keep coming.
Let's move on to Zuck Platforms Inc. This is okay. And now it's just getting weird over. Let me.
Now is getting weird. Now.
Let me start with the smaller stories over at Meta Platforms. First, a story: Facebook's 2018 efforts to boost revenue elevated Republican claims even at hyper-local levels. A new study concludes that Facebook's 2018 emphasis on meaningful social interactions disproportionately elevated Republican content over Democratic content. Okay, shocked. Okay, second. This one, you're not going to like this one. How does this sound to you? Metaversity. Yeah, that's right. Facebook announces launch of Metaverse academies across France. Shame on you, France. Facebook's parent company Meta and a French digital training firm will launch a Metaverse academy in France for the new academic year. Here's a creepy quote from this program from out of Meta. The Metaverse is the real world, only better.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I don't like that at all.
I don't like that at all.
And shame on you, France and Metaverse, all this. In the EU, that just announced that they're upping the board quota to 40% for women across all of Europe. The target for this program is only 30%.
Oh, good. Well, aim high.
Come on. You could do better. What about the nice 50%? What are you doing? Yeah, go ahead.
Does this come complete with Meta student debt and maybe
no, it's
Meta
free.
joblessness
It's free.
afterwards?
It's free.
It's free. Oh, good.
Yeah, this is like handing out
Indoctrinate
bags
early.
of weed to kids. Yeah. Okay. And here's the more troubling story out of Facebook, out of Meta.
Oh, no, the other two are not troubling at all. Let's do another one.
Today, the Wall Street Journal is reporting for the second time since Sheryl Sandberg resigned that Facebook has been investigating Sandberg since at least the fall for the possible misuse of corporate resources. Here's what's under review, and tell me if you can hear a common theme here, Matt. Yeah.
I'm listening.
Yeah, a common theme about her being a woman. Oops, did I give it away?
Oh.
Here we go.
Okay.
Under review. This is from the Wall Street Journal. Whether she had Facebook employees engaged in work that supported her Lean In Foundation.
Okay.
Whose mission is to foster women's leadership and workplace inclusion. Okay.
Got it.
Whether she pulled Facebook staffers into the writing and promotion of her second book, Option B, which focused on overcoming the sudden death of her husband in 2015. And finally, whether she had diverted the time and attention of Facebook employees to her upcoming wedding this summer. And again,
the wedding one we knew was
okay,
arranged.
but still, like all of these seem to have to do with Sheryl Sandberg as a woman, either dealing with Oh, go ahead.
I would guess that they're partially because she's a woman. That I mean,
it's a bad
do
look.
we really think? Do we really think?
Come on.
The S&P 500. There's a lot of men running those companies. You're telling me they've never had their secretary be like, "Can you get my kid a birthday present? Because I don't know when their birthday is." And they're using corporate resources to do personal stuff. You're telling me that's never happened? Never. It's Facebook, Sheryl Sandberg. We got 30 instances of it. Every other dude. This feels like the Martha Stewart insider.
This is bad.
Thing,
this is bad because this is not a one-off. This is the third time that someone has leaked information to the Wall Street Journal. Again, this isn't to RAI Biz or whatever. This is the Wall Street Journal. Remember first it was the Bobby Kotick story. They leaked that. And then, as you pointed out, it was about planning the wedding, and now this new information. But why the hell would they do her like this? Why are they doing her like this?
How many of our listeners are Boston sports fans? But isn't this the Boston sports media?
Yes.
Like Theo
Whenever
Epstein?
a Red Sox manager left the Red Sox, they would find, he put a receipt to Shop and Save in the wrong recycling container, or I don't know what it was.
He drank the blue Gatorade instead of the yellow Gatorade.
He smoked weed in 1974. Yeah, it's like this.
It would be
trashing
all
them on
over.
the way out. Yeah, this is ridiculous.
And this is after and keep bearing in mind, this is Zuck platforms. This isn't. There aren't other people. There's not like an accountability board that is looking into Sheryl Sandberg. This is just Mark Zuckerberg. Effectively, if there's a leak happening and there's actual investigations happening, it's just Zuckerberg saying we need to investigate this, right?
Yes,
go
because
investigate
there's ample opportunity for Zuck to step up right this second. Actually, he could call into Business Pants and say this is bullshit.
Now,
this
lines
is all,
are open.
This is all bullshit. This woman basically was our CEO. She was our CEO, essentially. Made this company big and great, and whoever's leaking this is an ass. But he's not doing that. He's not doing that.
First of all, nobody likes the dorm room mom, and second of all, he's not doing that. Instead, he writes a really glowing letter about how great her skin is and how happy he was to have her for the years that she was there, and then we're finding out this little drip of leaks afterwards about how she was actually a shitty like COO, and she's it's a good playbook for Zuck.
The reasons they're planting though they're so crass. I'm sorry, it's just such a crass.
I wonder if we're going to learn about these things at Metaversity about like how to use corporate resources.
Let's talk about the acronym that Matt hates, ESG. First, let's start with the climate crisis. You know, that's the E in ESG. New Zealand tackles climate change with cow burp tax. If the plan is adopted, the nation would become the first to charge farmers for the methane emissions emanating from their livestock. That's right, cow burp tax. New Zealand. Come on, baby.
Yeah, well, how does one...
Don't even. Two more headlines to depress you. Women, children more likely to be affected by climate change. And the second headline, Scientific American, Western mega drought worst in 1,200 years.
Now, that's not just in case you thought you misheard that. That's not 12 years. It's 1,200 years. Worst in 1,200 years.
It actually could be longer because the scientific record of these events started around the year 800. So it's going back to the start of the study, essentially.
Yeah. So as long as we have any sort of information, that's how long.
Okay, moving on to the S part of ESG. That's the stakeholders rule category. Google pays out $118 million to female staff who earned less than their male colleagues to settle lawsuit. Unfortunately, that only comes to an average of $7,600 per employee, per plaintiff.
Congratulations, women's soccer team.
Yeah.
You finally made it.
They were originally seeking $600 million. They're getting $118 million. And of course, a Google spokesperson said that they both sides agreed to settlement without admission of or findings. So they're basically pulling that
nobody
card.
has to admit anything.
Nothing happened. In a story in a company that we've been following very closely for years now, here's the headline. 2 Dollar General stores were cited by OSHA for padlocking their emergency exits shut. This follows a pattern of Dollar General stores obstructing access to emergency exits. Yeah.
You know why they do that?
That sounds terrible, man. Absolutely terrible.
I'm going to tell you a pointless, time-wasting
That sounds
anecdote.
really bad. Yeah.
So I once worked at Blockbuster Video, and I was like restocking shelves and taking out trash and whatever. And one day I took the trash out and I took it out the back door of the building. Rather than doing the half-mile walk around the mega warehouse of, shopping center thing to bring it to the trash, I went out the back door. I had the manager of the store basically tell me if I did that again, I was fired because, and then accused me of stealing. That's where their worried employees are taking the merchandise out the emergency exits and giving it to their friends.
More importantly, Matt,
rather than following a regulation, it's just easier to just padlock it and pay the $580,000 of fines that it cost them.
More importantly, Matt, no one believes you realize. Because what trash does Blockbuster Video make? How do you make trash? You're just renting videotapes and DVDs. Like,
Let me
what kind
tell
of
you
trash?
something
Where's the trash?
When people walk into Blockbuster Video, they are always
they're shedding their skin.
Do you have a trash can that I can use? And then they're throwing out basically 3 weeks worth of trash.
All right, let's move on. Sticking in this category, Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz says. That's the name of this category. Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz says. On getting workers back to the office, these are all quotes from Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz. I think this is like the 8th time he's been CEO at Starbucks. Here he says, I have been unsuccessful despite everything I've tried to do to get our people back to work. I've pleaded with them. I said I'll get on my knees. I'll do push-ups. Whatever you want, come back.
I did hear that there was a demand out of a Schenectady Starbucks. They were looking for an executive who could just do some push-ups, and they would start working.
This guy seems to be a failure at his job. That's all I'm saying.
Seems to be. Yeah. That seems like a...
CEO Howard Schultz says this is on why he opposes unionization. We know this is why he was brought back in to bust up the unions. He says, quote, he said, this is a little bizarre, Matt. He says, now I've said publicly I'm not anti-union.
Except for the thing he wrote. Yeah.
But The history of unions is based on the fact that companies in the 40s, 50s, and 60s abused their people. We're not in a coal mining business. We're not abusing our people. That's just a strange quote altogether.
I like it back to back.
Yeah.
With the other quote.
Okay. Push-ups.
Where he'll do anything to bring people back.
Except let them unionize.
Allow them to unionize. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the history of union is not just solely centered on the 40s, 50s, and 60s in the coal mining business. There's a little bit more nuance to it. But good try there, Howard Schultz. He also said about unions, we don't believe that a third party should lead our people, and so we are in a battle for the hearts and minds of our people.
The third party is the people themselves, right? It's the union of the people.
He said this about on the responsibility of CEOs to speak up. He said, it can't be convenient. It can't be about ringing the register. In the world we're living in, no company, no CEO can hide. Everyone knows everything. Everything you say publicly or privately is out there. And so let's be sure that you're standing up for truth. What does any of that mean?
With him. I don't
What does that
disagree
mean,
with
though?
him.
Is he the one who coined the phrase, like, speak your... Is it capital teacher, or was that Melody Hobson?
Melody Hobson was talking about it. That was an interview with Melody Hobson, who is the chair of the board of Starbucks.
At Starbucks.
Right?
So
they're talking about truth there.
But they're on this soapbox of speaking your truth. But as you pointed out before, like you get to define your own truth, though, right? I mean,
also they prefer if you don't speak your truth to each other about unionizing. Don't speak that truth.
Yeah. And finally, I wanted to add this because I just thought it was like silly and cute and stupid all at the same time. Here's Howard Schultz on the mental health crisis. He says, if you ask our people what are the 2 or 3 biggest benefits that Starbucks provides, number 1 is Spotify.
Oh, yeah.
And number 2 is Lyra Health. That is the mental health that they provide their people. What's going on there?
Number 1?
What is he doing? Okay, let's move on.
Number 1 is drugs. Number 2 is drugs.
That's true, actually, when you think about it. Let's finish up the ESG category. This is the G part of that category. This is the who owns your company part of the discussion. Let's talk about the NFL. The Washington Commanders defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio deleted his Twitter account one day after he was fined for controversial comments he made about the insurrection last year. I want to remind you, Matt, that the Washington Commanders are owned by Daniel Snyder, who made his wife co-CEO as the primary measure to fight off allegations of systemic sexual harassment at the organization. This is who owns this company. Just reminding you.
Well, the comments that he made, didn't he call the events of January 6th? What do you call a dust up?
Yeah, well, this is like man talk. That's like bro talk. He's a man. He's a man.
I mean, just a dust up. Just a little dust up.
Here's another story out of the NFL. The Cleveland Browns are firmly committed to Deshaun Watson, their new quarterback, despite the 24th lawsuit alleging the QB of sexual misconduct. I'll remind you who owns the Cleveland Browns. It's a man named Jimmy Haslam, who was a white man who inherited his daddy's corporation. That's the Pilot Company, one of the 10 largest private companies in the U.S. So that's who owns the Cleveland Browns. Just in case you forget who Jimmy Haslam is, they actually went to trial for fraud because they were overcharging. They were misleading investors and overcharging. So, but in fairness to the Browns, it was only the 24th. They don't have a threshold of not bringing in a quarterback until you hit at least 25 sexual harassment complaints. Let me remind you 2 things, though. That contract given to that guy is the biggest guaranteed contract ever in the NFL to this man. Who is 24 serious allegations. But not 25, Damian. And secondly, about the fraud at Pilot Corporation, Jimmy's daddy can't teach him everything about business, Matt. So how dare you, really?
It's true.
I mean, come on, give him a break. Right?
That wasn't. Can you imagine the father-son talks where they're talking about other things, and at one point he's like, "Try not to fraud," but I can't.
Yeah, that's
teach
like
you
at
everything.
2:30 a.m. after like a fifth Jim Beam or whatever. Okay, let's go to the blowhard index.
This category is endless.
Few follow-up stories we've been covering. Users of Donald Trump's Truth social media network claim they were suspended after posting about January 6th committee hearings. This was the company that promised a free speech platform. So maybe this is a peek into Elon Musk's Twitter.
Thank God. I mean, I don't think you need to say anything about the irony of people on the right not wanting to hear anything. Considering Fox News did not broadcast the hearings of something they didn't want to hear about while they are busy complaining about their free speech is somehow limited. Continue.
And this other one on the blowhard index, I pulled for Emma, but Emma is really lurking and not here today. The headline was that Kathy Wood's ARK Invest has seen all its gains wiped out. But investors aren't losing faith. I just wanted to hear Emma scoff and puke in her mouth because she doesn't like Kathy Wood.
Kathy Wood is only doing it because of faith. Jesus told her to.
And finally, I'm sure you're all relieved. And all of our updates, all of our updated stories. Let's close the book on the Russian McDonald's story. Over a dozen former McDonald's restaurants in Russia reopened Sunday with different branding and a new name. The name is in Russian is Fuksuno Tochka, which translates to tasty, and that's it.
Well done.
Are you disturbed by that a little bit though? Tasty, and that's it. Like
that's it.
Yeah,
I'm don't do anything else. Yeah, it's tasty. Shut up and you eat it. It's tasty.
So there's a new logo and the new slogan too. Here's a new slogan: the name changes. Love stays.
I do remember they did infuse a lot of those burgers previously with love.
Okay, that's it. That's all I got. Oh, it's time for Matt Moscardi with his new segment. It's not a new segment. What is this segment you've been doing?
I was calling it Egghead Say, but you were calling it all morning a pre-production Nerd Alert, and I think that's a better name anyway. So it's now Nerd Alert.
Nerd Alert.
You're bringing up. Oh. What are you bringing up? What are you even doing here?
No, it's not even working.
Nerd alert!
No, it's not working.
Oh my God, you broke it. You broke everything. Yeah, it's called Nerd Alert. Can I turn the music back on now? Because
you can do it. I failed. And now I feel bad for I used to sometimes when Emma would post media to this soundboard here, I'd be upset because the beginning of some of the things were clipped, and I felt like it was very unprofessional. But now I realized that it wasn't Emma's fault. My clip got clipped for no apparent reason. The first second or two is no one cares about this.
Nobody cares about anything that you're talking about.
Yeah, just edit me out. Edit me out entirely. Come on. What do you got today? Nerd Alert.
If I edit you out of the show, it's a 7-minute
Please
show.
Please do.
All right. Here's your Nerd Alert, where someone smarter than us says something smarter than us about something we wish we understood. I have a pop quiz for you, Damian Rollis.
Ooh. Yeah.
Which free float staff member is more likely to be discriminated against? Is it A, Matt Moscardi, B, Damian Rollis, or C, Ariana Baranachea?
I mean, isn't that obvious? Do I have to really answer this question?
If you're thinking Ari, because she's a woman and she's also Peruvian,
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
You'd be right. You were right about that. But if you said Ari because her last name is a shit show for a white dude to pronounce, it's hard. According to this paper, you'd also be right. Here's the paper.
Ooh.
The name of the paper is How Do You Say Your Name? Difficult to Pronounce Names and Labor Market Outcomes.
Ooh, I like this.
You can guess where this is going. The paper actually succinctly summarizes and adds dozens of citations to the ways labor participants are discriminated against, citing multiple papers. Here's the list. And seriously, being a 40-something white male has never been so good. You can get discriminated against in the labor market. Academics have proven this for your age, race,
Right.
ethnicity,
Sure.
national origin,
course.
religion,
Duh.
sexual orientation,
Oh, yeah.
physical appearance, and add
Okay.
to that list how hard it is to say your name.
Wow.
That is the contents of this paper. The paper actually created something called name fluency ratings, which is how
Okay.
easy it is for a native English speaker to say your name, and looked at outcomes of PhDs getting academic jobs after they get their PhDs for 1,500 candidates, and found PhDs with hard to pronounce names, despite the fact that they had similar backgrounds, ended up at lower tier programs, non-tenure positions, and non-academic jobs more often between 2016 and 2018. Here's another pop quiz for you.
You know what, Matt? This is all making sense because, first of all, I got sent to a speech therapist because I couldn't pronounce my own name. What does that say? What does that say about me when I was a child? I couldn't say the
I can't understand half
couldn't
what
do
you say
Rawless
now.
very well.
So.
and everyone always called me Rayless and Rallis, and so that's why I wasn't promoted. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well,
that's the only reason, right?
I'm going to give you another pop quiz.
Yeah,
which is. Which of these authors of the paper do you think proposed the study? Is it number 1, Stephen Wu of the Department of Economics at Vassar, or number 2, Kui Ji of the Department of Economics at Hamilton?
Well,
and that second name is spelled QI space GE.
The way I feel like the way you intentionally butchered that second name, I'm going to go with the second.
You pronounce
name.
it. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm a white guy.
I think it's is it not Shigi? Shigi.
There you go.
I butchered it too.
You're a winner.
Yeah.
To wrap up here, I want to give you a list of CEOs by 2021 pay. Let's see how many names are
this
hard
is
to
brilliant.
pronounce.
I love this.
For my exhaustive research, I proposed the following test. Is it hard for me, a white middle-aged man born in privilege who aggressively asserts himself without knowledge, to say their name? And if it
Ivy
is,
League egghead, yeah.
then I'm pulling their name out as discriminated
Okay.
against. Shout out, first of all, to Equilar for providing this list, because the amazing part of this list is they actually give you data with like pay ratios, and it's just on the internet. They just put it there. But it turns out the paper suggests that white people will discriminate against other white people if their names are hard to pronounce. This is,
of course.
this
I find
isn't
that
linked
easy to believe.
strictly-
I find that easy to believe. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the list, my short list of who's probably discriminated against for having shitty names from the top 100 by pay. These are your hard names. Sanjay Mehrotra.
Yeah.
Of Micron.
Don't overdo it. Don't over mispronounce.
I know.
on
I have to
purpose.
think about it.
Okay.
It could be Mehrotra.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's Mehrotra. He's number 19 on the list for pay with 25,316,000. Or yeah, 25,316,000.
You could just say 25 million. I think that's enough.
And a 391 to 1 pay ratio.
Okay.
Darius Adamczyk.
Chick probably. I'm guessing. Chick.
Adam Chick
Yeah.
of Honeywell. He's number
Uh-huh.
39 on the list.
Okay.
$20,953,206.
Thank God you tell us that
346 to 1 ratio.
206 part. Thank God for telling me
I'm
that.
just telling you what's on the list. I'm giving you the real data. That's
Yeah.
what you get here.
Okay.
Andrew Cesari. I'm going with Cesari. Or
Yeah,
is
because
it
you're
Cesari?
Italian. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying it like an Italian would.
Yeah. I'm thinking chair.
Chair could be it. Actually, it's pretty good.
Only because I'm in a chair and I'm tired. All right, keep going. Come on.
U.S. Bancorp CEO. He's number 70 on the list, 225 to 1 pay ratio.
Yeah.
And then finally, number 91 on the list, Philip Morris' CEO, Jacek Olszak.
Yeah, it's
Olszak?
Polish, right? Yeah, I don't know.
Jacek Olszak?
Yeah. There's a
Look.
lot of shh in the Polish. A lot of shh.
There were only 4 on a list
Yeah.
of 100 that I could not pronounce at a glance. That
Okay.
tells you something. These are the most paid CEOs. Only 4 of them have hard to pronounce names. These are U.S. companies. 4 with hard to pronounce names?
Tell you something. Does tell you something.
I feel like
What?
it does.
I don't know. Yeah.
And it does tell me that every one of their biographies should actually read, climbing to a place where I could make between 200 and 1,100 times the median employee was fraught with barriers that we don't talk about like being generally white with a hard-to-pronounce last name. I think that needs to be in every one of their bios, that they were discriminated against no matter what, because that's what the nerds say. That's the end of my segment.
Not to take you seriously, but I'm going to with this follow-up question. Do you think that if we could reach out to the authors of this report, could we ask them whether this is also part of the intentionality of Silicon Valley hiring, as we've been pointing out, a lot of new CEOs from East Asia, because there's something about because we think they're doing it because the people and the names are hard to pronounce, and there's a mysterious type of person, and because they're trying to hide behind these people. Do they think there's some credence to this theory? Yeah.
I think, actually, the vast majority of them have very easy to pronounce names. Sundar Pichai.
Only because we've been saying it for a long time.
I mean, you look at his name.
I had to look it up originally. I had to look it up.
I didn't.
Okay, well,
Satya Nadella. You don't have Nadella. Sounds like if you just
that's
said
not easy either.
If his name was Giancarlo Nadella, you'd be like, oh, that's an Italian dude. Like that's.
But you know it's Satya Nadella because we've been saying it for years. Same with Parag Agrawal at Twitter, who probably won't be there very long, but.
No,
anyway.
And there's your perfect example. The guy whose name is hardest to pronounce is the first one who's probably going to get canned.
Yeah.
That's all we got. Do you have any other?
That is plenty.
That's plenty.
You want to hear from me more stuff?
First of all, I just want to say, a shout out to the authors of this. I love this paper. I love this idea.
It sounds amazing to me. I love all the nerd alert reports that you pull out every week. This is one of my new favorite segments. Probably one of my top 80 favorite segments that we do here.
There you go. Finally made the top 80. That's Damon Rollis. I'm Matt Muscardi. We are Free Float Media.
Yes.
We will
Where's
be
Emma?
Back tomorrow. Emma might be back tomorrow, but maybe not. No pressure.
See.
No pressure.
But a little bit of pressure. A little bit.
Yeah. Get on the show, you jerk.
Come on.
All right. That's all we got. We'll see you then. Goodbye.